Boom. We hit it.
We back.
Welcome to the Basic Podcast. That's Matt.
There's Ela
And-
somewhere over there.
I'm just fluttering in the distance on the complete opposite
He
side.
floats sometimes.
I float sometimes?
Yeah, you know.
Do
Here
I
and there.
do I have enough body fat to float?
You'd want less body fat, I'd imagine.
Really?
You think fat's gonna make you float?
I mean, I've heard people say that they're like I've heard some people who are not as skinny as I am say that their extra mass made them float more.
Float more?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's those people who are like really obese that go missing and you never hear from them again. Maybe they just flew away and broke the stratosphere.
Okay.
I mean, there's always a chance, I guess.
Well, I guess that's how that goes. Did we have anything for today, or are we just gonna mess around?
Did you have something for today?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. Did I have to come up with something?
Well, I mean, like, do you have something for today?
No.
No.
Though we're gonna do that one thing this weekend. Are we doing that this weekend?
What?
We said we were gonna do it for this podcast last time, but that's
We're
not.
gonna do it.
We will do it this weekend. We ought to set plans for that.
Yeah. So, we talked about Final Space. I mean, you talked about going, but we haven't talked about the show.
Not really. I haven't talked about the show, but I talked a little bit about how I went, and we had that time, and I'm gonna put it on my channel.
So it's this new show on TBS. Like, I've enjoyed it. Like, I've actually really liked it.
Yeah.
And I didn't figure I would, honestly. When I first seen it, I'm like, lame.
If you don't know, it's called Final Space. It's made by Olin Rogers. It's on TBS, and Conan O'Brien's in it, and David Tennant's in it.
Yeah.
Tom Kenny, who does the voice of SpongeBob, is in it. He does Hugh, the AI.
Yeah, for me, I thought that it was just one of those. It kind of looked like a piggyback show. Like, they saw how well Rick and Morty did, and they were gonna make a similar type show. But it's definitely in its own lane.
Yeah. Olin Rogers is in his own lane. Like, you can try to be in Olin's lane, but you won't get in Olin's lane.
Well, the thing is, it's got a more wholesome thing to it.
He doesn't like doing... I don't even know that he's cursed in his life kind of thing. Like, Olin is... All his videos have... Because he used to be really large on YouTube. All
Yeah.
his videos kind of have a not as vulgar side to them.
Well, I mean, like,
Apart from the obvious brutality in the show.
there's brutality in the show, but overall, there's more of a. I mean, compared to a lot of the other stuff that's out now, it's pretty wholesome.
Yeah.
So it's like Rick and Morty with a more, more relatable feel.
I haven't watched a lot of Rick and Morty. The last time I watched Rick and Morty, I was so tired. It was like, it didn't even compute.
Some of the Rick and Mortys are brutal. Like, do you know, like, it's a word people throw around, but nihilism or nihilism?
I've never heard that.
No? Okay, it's just a term for, like, people who hate, essentially, the structure of everything. Like, they hate religion, they hate authority, they hate systems. They're just, pretty much nothing.
I can think of a few people.
Okay. Essentially, nothing matters, and everything's pointless, and anything that can be created is bad alone. But Rick and Morty has a pretty big, like, core on that message.
Yeah.
Because, Rick's like the super genius who essentially has created most of the universe. Like he's that kind of
Like,
person.
he thinks he's created all the
No, he
universe?
has. Like, essentially...
I think I need to actually watch this show now.
So you
'cause I
don't figure
even
it
know
out
what
until later, but Rick is actually so smart and so powerful. He was the first person to ever invent interdimensional travel. and what that opened up so many possibilities that it turned out he was the actual creator of the universe.
Because
And
of his interdimensional
yeah.
travel.
And the whole universe is founded on. There's a council of Ricks that kind of control everything. But the main Rick is not in the council. He's the Rickiest Rick, as he would say. And to even be a part of the council or a system is against Rick's core at every fiber of his being. So it's that kind of show. But some of them, like, I've enjoyed the first 2 seasons, but the 3rd season got me really angry on a lot of them. Like, just because I'm like, come on. Give me
Like
a
they
break.
just do stupid stuff, and it's like you didn't need to make an episode about that.
Not stupid.
Like they're
just
filler, or
extremely dark.
oh,
Like dark to the point I'm like, come on. You want some action to be taken by some of the other characters. Like the 3rd season was written by they did a 50-50 split with female and male writers. They just talked about with the people who made the show. The first 2 seasons was primarily male, and I don't think they fired any guys, but they hired some females and balanced it. And the 3rd season was dark and brutal beyond like belief compared to the others.
how many seasons are there now?
There's 3 total, so the 3rd one's the last one they made. Like one of the episodes that, like, still if I'm like that one's coming on, I'm like, that one just pisses me off. So essentially, even though there was no prequel, they talk like there's a prequel to this one, and it's called The Vindicators, Saviors of the Universe or something. And so while Rick is like all powerful, in a sense, Morty doesn't really have any heroes growing up because his family sucks, his parents suck, they're terrible. All he's got is Rick, who's just a mad genius.
Isn't he like literally his grandfather?
Yeah, but with no moral compass. He's a universe traveling demigod with no moral compass is essentially the balance. And that's all Morty has to look up to. But there's a superhero group in the universe called the Vindicators, and they have like powers and whatnot. And they apparently went on a saving mission with them earlier that they didn't make an episode of it, but it happened. So they get called again to help them, and Morty's like super excited. He's like, finally, I get to do something I want.
With some superheroes.
Yeah, and Rick's like, Rick doesn't like it, but he's like, okay, because so essentially Morty has like 1 in 5 adventures Morty gets to pick, and the other 4 he has to go with Rick to wherever Rick wants to do. So Morty's like, Rick didn't even want to do it, so Morty cashes in like, a Morty card. And they get to go on this adventure with these guys, and Rick gets drunk the first night, and like he's always drunk, but more so than normal, like completely plastered. Destroys not like the ship, but like he just makes a mess of everything. And the next day, they have to go kill this destroyer. It's kind of like Thor Ragnarok style dude, who's like, he's a world destroyer, and it's fire and flames.
Oh yeah.
And they have to go beat him. Anyway, they show up and he's already dead. So they're like, oh, somebody already killed him. So they go through the tunnel to like.
This is the episode you hate?
Yes.
Okay.
It gets really fucking annoying. Sorry.
You're just like, oh no, now you guys gotta edit this.
But they get to this area, like at the end. They had to go all the way to the end to find out he was dead. And boom, like something gets set and traps start going off and they're locked in. And once they're locked in, Rick appears on the screen. Rick's there with them, but it turns out to be like blackout drunk Rick is on the screen. And he went there like last night and killed the guy.
And recorded himself?
No, and he like set up these traps. So he set up like he's locked them in, himself included, right? Everyone's locked in. And so now after, proving like that he could kill him with ease, now the Vindicators that are apparently so amazing have to find their way out through these traps, right?
Yeah.
And it's like Saw like traps, like from the movie Saw, like in that sense. It's like if you can't figure this out in this amount of time. You know, one of you's gonna die scenario. So the next part of the show, it's just like 5 minutes of all of Morty's superheroes getting brutally killed. while while Morty's just watching in terror, and then they get to the end, and like the one person that can save, that can save the remaining few, has to come up to the platform. That has to be the right choice, or everyone dies. Even Rick, the Rick in there dies. So Morty comes up to the platform thinking that it's gonna be him, the true person he cares about, and it's not. It's some janitor that worked on the ship.
What?
With the superheroes.
So everyone dies?
Well, they don't actually. Most of them do, but in that instance, Rick ends up preventing it somehow. So only like 2 of them live. But anyway, Morty has a chance to like punish Rick, and he just punks out, and I'm like, oh my god.
Like, you just killed all these superhero guys. What's wrong with
the
you?
one adventure Morty got to pick, Rick ruins and kills all his heroes, and I'm just like, ugh.
Dang. How you gonna go home to high school like that?
Like, that's not even close to the darkest one, though.
Wow.
Some of them are rightfully dark, and some of them aren't.
Anyways, so Final Space is one of the best shows.
It's not that dark.
It's great.
It's
And I'm
really
not just saying that because I like Olin Rogers and I've liked
Yeah.
Olin Rogers for years.
One of the things you talked about it, but the cat's name is Avocado. Did Gary give him that name?
No.
So
The bounty hunter's name is literally Avocado.
So his little kid's name is Lil Cotto.
Lil Cotto. Okay, out of the whole show, that is one of the stupidest things ever. Like, there's another thing. It was like,
I actually thought that was perfect.
really? There's another scene that I was just kind of like, eh. It was like, it might be spoilers, but they get stuck in this little trap thing, and whatever they think becomes real, and like they drag on this living killer demon cookies thing for a little long, and it's like, you didn't have to take it that long, you know. But whatever.
Well, I agree with you with the dream aspect, but I really like the 6-eyed alien, like giant guy.
Tribor?
Well, no, it's like they have floating eyes around their heads.
Oh, that
They're
thing
kind
was
of
cool.
Illuminati-esque
Yeah.
looking.
Those
I
guys
thought
are-
that was really neat.
I meant like the actual trap where
Okay.
where he was thinking of cookies, and then the cookies just try to
Yeah,
kill
but
them.
wasn't that a factor of those guys?
No, it's just, yes.
He dropped off Mooncake, and then they got.
I mean specifically the part where he thinks
Oh.
of the cookies, and they drag out these murdering demon cookies for like
Yeah.
5 whole minutes, and it's like, you didn't need to do that, but okay,
Yeah.
That's like the only problem I have with the show. Other than that, everything is awesome. The characters are hilarious. They actually feel like they have variety. Do you know how Avocado got his name? Literally, the guy who voiced him, which is like Olin's best friend, was just like, we need to have a character in something called Avocado, and he's a cat. Like, it's avocado, but without a D.
Yeah.
It's just with a T. Like
Avocado.
Avocado.
And Will Catto.
Avocado. It's a good show. It's like, we went to see the premiere, and I wasn't expecting it to be as brutal as it was, because they've got some like heads getting ripped off, and like people's getting like mutilated.
See, like you.
And like, it's cool in the art style. Like, the art style looks
Yeah.
cool, but like, we're sitting there watching the first part of the first episode, and then the title sequence rolls in, and it's literally Avocado ripping a guy's head off, and it's like, whoa! I didn't expect the esophagus to swivel around in the air like that.
Like that's actually like what I was. That's why, like, even though the show is like kind of like that, it doesn't bother me at all, because like I was talking to you about this on one of the other podcasts.
Are you talking about Family Guy?
Well, I'm not sure that you're like acquainted with new animated shows.
I don't watch shows very often.
Okay, but like that's become like the mainstay.
Just to be brutal.
Brutally, so like that level that in Final Space is like a bare minimum now, and by that I mean like they probably have to do it just to be on TV. Like it's gotten that crazy.
All right then.
Like
Okay.
it's gotten really rough as far as that goes. So when like literally watching Avocado rip somebody's head off, I'm like, oh, finally some wholesome content.
Anyways, it's a good show. Premieres on Mondays.
I mean, it's better than like, skin transplants on American Dad or killing each other with flying cat heads.
Brian the dog getting run over.
Yeah, or stuff like that, or Stewie cutting someone in half. These kinds of scenarios. And actually, as far as that goes, there's a show on Adult Swim at midnight every Sunday. I've only watched one episode. That's all I need to watch. That pushes the boundaries of what's allowed on TV.
I'd probably just faint.
It's called Mr. Pickles. It's about.
Oh, I've seen stuff for Mr. Pickles.
Have you seen the show?
It's like a border collie dog
Yeah,
named
or just the
Mr.
preview.
Pickles. I've seen something for it.
Like, have you seen any of the kills or the
No.
Okay. So for one about Mr. Pickles, even the previews don't show anybody dying, but it's gross. Like you'll know that right off the bat. Like you've got fat, obese people oozing mold. You've got people on meth, kids. It's disgusting. As most of the, or they go with the other tactic, which is just like some mesh tag marketing where it's just like a photo of a dog and just random marketing ads that have nothing to do with the show. But I watched one episode one night just because I'm like, might as well see how bad this is. And okay, it's bad. Like in one episode, like 12 people died, and they're all different. So the dog's satanic for one. He's like sent from Satan to destroy.
It sounds like a funny show, but
Well, if it may sound like a funny show, but keep in mind there's no jokes. Like there's no jokes. There's hardly any audio.
so it's just like this evil dog just killing people.
There's a joke or two there, but it's very rare. And yeah, it's an evil dog. He's got pretty much all the capabilities of anyone. Like he can hold an axe. He can essentially a human. But yeah, I've never seen so much gore, even in a horror movie, in a 30-minute episode of Mr. Pickles.
I just love that it's called Mr. Pickles.
Like, one guy literally got, I guess, like, thrown in a boiling vat of cheese. He ended up living, but he became the skinless cheese monster who, like, tormented campers and murdered them.
Wow.
Good old Mr. Pickles.
Anyway, Final Space is on TBS Mondays. I think at like 9:30.
Refreshing, wholesome family animation.
Basically, yeah.
It's pretty family.
I mean, there was an
friendly,
episode
honestly.
where he's kind of nude, but it doesn't like show much.
Nah, it's just a butt.
It's just
I mean, the characters aren't very sexual.
no. Like if you had kids watching it with you, they'd be like, "Ah," they just laugh,
Yeah.
and you'd be like,
Ha, got him. But not this like Final Space. I've had a lot of good things like recently, I guess.
"You've had a lot of good things."
Well, like as far as like finding something and enjoying it.
You mean like Fortnite?
Yeah, like Fortnite's one of them. Final Space is one of them. There's a movie or two. Like as far as like just, I guess not being overly critical of things, or there's just better content coming out. It's hard to tell sometimes
Whether you're just tired of being a critic or if good things are actually
yeah,
out there.
exactly. Like, oh, they're actually making good stuff now, or oh, I'm finally stopping being so cynical about, liking things.
I mean, either one is good.
Yeah, but it's been pretty refreshing like to stay on the path of enjoyment
Me too.
rather than cynicism. I mean, some things, like, no matter how good they are, people just gonna hate.
Yeah.
Like Kingdom Come Deliverance.
I haven't seen that in my queue, by the
I
way.
guess it's... If you haven't played the game Kingdom Come Deliverance, I mean, you're missing out as far... If you like bugs, terrible gameplay, horrendous...
Basically, if you like any
Scripts.
early Bethesda game,
It takes the problems you'll find in Bethesda games and magnifies them, like, to the extreme.
100-fold.
100-fold. I'll be honest, after paying...
your worst.
After dropping $60 on it and playing it 2 nights, I haven't played the game since. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't buy it.
I don't think I'm gonna buy it, Matt.
Because I may just go back to it and play.
Maybe.
Somewhere down the line.
Eventually, probably. I dropped like $30 on games just so that when I get like a console that'll let me play my Steam games,
Yeah.
just so that I'll be able to play them then.
Part of what defeats the the game is it's slow. Like, it's slow.
Like the story is slow.
Yeah, everything's slow. Like, if someone just asks you, like, hey, go talk to this person that's literally in the house over from you, you're like, that's gonna take a while.
Why?
I don't, the dialogue's slow, the movement's slow, the fighting's slow.
Ah, welcome to my home. This is where I sleep.
Dude, they literally took some of the fight dialogue straight out of Oblivion. I'm not kidding.
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking about it.
Like, die, criminal, scum, or those are all in this
This
game.
is the part where you fall
Yeah.
down and bleed to death.
And the same stupid grunts and sighs, too.
Ha!
Brrr. That's in this game. I guess maybe they just got it so historically accurate. That's just how people sounded back then.
There's a psychopath on the loose.
And, like, you know how, like, when people get hurt or stabbed in today's world, they just scream or they're like,
Ah, help, help.
back then, "Roar."
Taste my blade. Stop. You have violated the law.
Like, I'm just gonna get this. This is the best the most fun I've had from the game was the very first mission. You get 4 tasks, right? But to do the 3, you need money.
And you don't have money.
You have 0 money. So the first thing, aside from like stealing, or you can actually, it gives you a task, and your son's blacksmith, and he's like, I need you to go pick up these things from the market, and you're like, I have no money. What am I gonna do, Dad? He's like, go see so and so. He owes me some money. I lent him a hammer and a nail and a few, septums.
Septums?
Say
Are you
septums.
just saying septums because Uriel
Yeah.
Septum
Yeah.
from Oblivion?
And
I haven't even played all of Oblivion, and I know like half the references.
they're pretty cemented in the game.
Yeah.
And he's like, and even if he can't give you some money, he can give you the hammer or whatever back, and you can sell it at the market and get the goods. He only wants like a bag of charcoal and some beer or something. And you're
Who
like,
knows
okay.
with blacksmiths? What do they want?
You're like, okay, I'll go get it. And so you go down to see this guy, this like fat bald dude, fat drunk bald guy, who's like hammering something, or no, he has an axe and he's hitting something. And you talk to him, and you're like, hey, my father sent you, or my father sent me to pick up, so a hammer or whatever, or some money, and he's like, saw it off, mate. Your father can go shove it.
What?
Yeah, like just like that.
That's all he said?
So right off, like something like that, and right off the bat, you're like, okay, you have options to try and persuade him, but you just want to fight this guy. Like, you want to fight him.
Like he's just an idiot?
Because he's being so disrespectful. Your dad lent him all this stuff. And then you're like, you can say, hey, look, I understand you're in a tight spot, but my father lent you, multiple things. If you could just give me, the hammer for today, and then you can pay the rest back later. It's okay, I understand. I picked that response. And he's like, you son of a whore, you'll pay for talking to me in that manner, and your father too. Like, you're just like, hey, it's alright, man, I just need a little something for today. And he just, son of a whore. So I'm like, okay, we're fighting.
That's not nice. My dad may be a blacksmith.
So, and sure enough, like, I'm fighting this guy, and it's 3 pages of tutorial right off the bat. It's like, no joke, you got like 3 full pages of fighting information on how to beat this guy in a fist fight. So I'm like reading, and I'm like, okay, here we go. So I start fighting. Like 5 minutes go by, and I'll lose. And dude, I'll lose this fight, and this guy tells me, serves you right, and go tell your dad to shove it. And I'm like, no, restart the game. I'm like, quit, start a fresh new game. I'm beating this guy.
Do you save it right before? Can you save? Like,
No, there's no free save, which is why another reason this game sucks. So I'm like, restart the game. Not letting this guy's not getting away with this. So I end up beating him the second time, and
yeah,
and essentially
serves him right. His dad should go shove it.
And so essentially, after you beat him, he's like, honestly, this dude's like super broke. He gives you the keys to his house, and he's like, just take anything you can find.
What?
And you go in there.
You just steal all his stuff?
There's literally nothing in the house but one thing. It's just piles of wood and rubble and dirt is all that's in his house.
I mean, if he would have just said, look, man, I'm really broke. I'm sorry I can't give you
But
anything.
he just went off.
You probably would have been like, all right,
Yeah,
cool.
I would have actually probably searched for another method in the game.
But instead, he's just like, son of a whore.
Just because you're wanting what you lent him back. And that's pretty much the only part I enjoyed of the game.
It's just beating this guy in a fist fight.
Yeah, it's a deep story-rich game. I just have a hard time playing it. I might get into it. After that, you go see your girlfriend. It's implied that she's your girlfriend.
You're the son of a blacksmith, and you somehow have a girlfriend.
Well, you're not just the son of a blacksmith. You're the son of a legendary blacksmith.
That changes things.
Yeah. So you're like, your dad's the blacksmith that people go to when they like
Need an enchanted
when the king
sword.
needs a sword, for like the showroom. Like that's
Ah.
actually the task you're doing. You're getting charcoal to heat the forge for.
But he's a legendary blacksmith, but he doesn't have enough money for you to go buy him a bag of charcoal and some beer.
He's one of those. He's one of these people that, while he could make a fortune in his craft, he believes in a modest, simple life. And they even the king's even like, you could make a fortune if you move to a big city, and he's like, no, I prefer the simple life. And then you go talk to the lady and get the beer. She's the lady at the brewery or whatever, and do some other things. And then your friends are like, let's go turd someone's house. So you go find some manure and throw it at some dude's house.
3-page tutorial on how to throw.
And then you go back and then you make the sword with your father.
6-page tutorial on how to make a sword.
And shortly after that, essentially an army floods the town. You watch your mother and father die brutally at the hands of the enemy army, and your girlfriend get stabbed to death by enemy soldiers. And you're just told to flee. That's how the game starts after the tutorial.
Okay.
And you flee, and you can't you can actually die while fleeing. This game, it doesn't hold your hand. And if you die, it's boom, back to the start. but
So there's no checkpoints, no saves at all?
after you get to the next town, there's a save. It's very few in between. And the game, it would be understandable hardcore because that's how the game is. If it was smooth and polished, it's understandable. But like when you've worked hard and you've been doing well, and then you just fall through the ground, dead,
Because of a glitch in the
or
floor?
you're fighting someone and he teleports across the map and kicks you straight in the face and kills you,
That
That's-
video is hilarious.
that's a problem.
The guy's up there on the drawbridge. He's like, you shoot an arrow at him.
Turns around.
He's like, hey! Flies through the air like some kind of Bruce Lee. Kicks you in the face.
In full plate armor. So you end up with like a couple arrows in your body on death's door at this other gate, and they take you in. And that's as far as I've gotten because the quests after that have been unbelievably tedious. But
Find out who killed your family.
well, something like I was reading a lot about the game because it's $60 and I really enjoy classic RPGs like with sword and
Yeah.
that's my favorite style of game. And it's a hyper realistic. Graphically, it's really up there. Like on the videos, you can't tell, but if you play it, it's insane. The graphics are really insane.
Is that why they have so many bugs? Because it's so insane.
Yes, that is actually. You know how some developers put way too much in the graphical sense that they have to lack in other areas.
Mhm.
So
The guy picks up the back.
uh, so yeah, so this is one of the reasons that killed the game for me, honestly, was something I read while trying to get a good review of what I was getting into. So essentially, even if the story would drive you, you want to get back at this guy who killed, your family and everything. It's really a story-based game. Like, I'm not going to say it's not. One of the comments that I'd found when trying to see if it was a playable game was the ending. And they didn't tell me what happens at the ending, but I do know that you don't get to kill that guy. You don't even get to beat him.
What?
So the person who murdered your family and girlfriend, he gets away. I know that much.
So unless they're making a second one, it's probably not worth playing.
Yeah.
Weren't you just like endorsing this game like 5 minutes ago?
Well, I'm endorsing it for the funness of the just how bad it is. I think they're going to make it to where you can beat him or kill him like with an add-on or an additional game, but it's just like another money grab. They put this game out 6 months to a year too early. I think everyone agrees that it needed longer in development. But hilarious nonetheless.
I mean, it seems pretty
You
funny.
never know what glitches you'll get into.
Yeah. What game is... I was thinking of a game earlier that had so many glitches in it. But it was exactly like that. You play it for the glitches in it.
Yeah.
But yeah. I like RPGs, but I have to be in the mood for them, Matt.
Yeah.
I can't just...
They're my mainstay for the most
I
part.
can't just be like default to an RPG. I'll probably default to something like Far Cry or Doom or GTA or something, but I have to be in the mood to play Fallout or
Yeah.
Oblivion or Skyrim or anything.
Like, I was watching the compilations of the glitches for that game, and honestly, it almost had me crying. Some of them were so bad. Because a lot of them have audio, so you get to hear the people's reactions.
Yeah.
And some of the times they'll die, like, accidentally. They'll just get so mad. Because you've lost, like, you lose hours of progress sometimes. Like, there's this one quest where you have, like, an 80% chance of dying just by clicking on the object you're supposed to collect. Because it floats you up in the air, like, for no reason. It's not... You just teleport into the air and fall to your death.
Me and PUBG.
No!
No. Have you seen people die when they're playing speedruns? And they just like get so angry.
Yeah. Is there any game you think you could do a speed run on? Like I mean, maybe not a world record one, but like
Maybe one of the Half-Life games. I haven't played them in a while. I'd need to refresh myself, but
there was a game or two back in the day. I feel like I could have made a run for global speed run on.
which one?
I think the original Ratchet and Clank, if you remember that game, and a few Spyros. Obviously, I
Oh,
was really little.
Spyro. Dude, I loved Spyro.
I did too. I was really little when I was playing those games, but
I mean,
I had played them so many times.
I mean, me too, but I had Spyro A Hero's Tale, and I would play that all the time.
Yeah.
I remember holding the disc one day. I literally said to my mom, "This game is now my life."
I wish Spyro got the same treatment that Sonic got.
I think they're gonna. I've heard rumors about them making a new Spyro.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's still alive. Like Spyro hasn't died yet.
Oh no.
But I think Spyro warranted a bigger presence than he got throughout time. You know, like Mario and Sonic are still titans.
Yeah.
But Spyro, he's not as
He's not as big, but
yeah.
I've seen plenty of big name YouTubers be like, "Oh, I love Spyro. Let's bring Spyro back." Like,
Yeah.
and like Jacksepticeye, he did a whole playthrough of Spyro recently. I don't even
really?
I don't even remember which one it was, but it was.
They've made one as recent as a few years ago. It's just
I mean, it was the old Spyro.
oh okay.
So I was like, "Oh yeah." Like I watched. Like it's funny they had such bad graphics, you know, as I say back then, but it didn't feel like bad graphics when I was growing up. It felt like I wouldn't say
Crazy good.
I wouldn't say like, "Oh, the best graphics in the world," but it didn't matter what the graphics were because my imagination was so high up there.
It's easy to tell like what you're saying because you can think about Spyro like this is something that happened to me in your head and you playing it as a kid. And I've watched videos of that same game like last year or this year sometime and I'm like
Is that?
it looked like that
Yeah, did it really?
cuz I don't remember that.
Yeah, like there was this old weird game by THQ. They had Cartoon Network characters and Nickelodeon characters together in like some big
Yeah.
game where they are all trapped on this island and they have to. It was this really weird game and I'd only like rediscovered it recently. But I went and watched some cutscenes from it and I was like, oh my god, this looks like some 11-year-old Minecraft animator kid made this.
Yeah.
What is this? And I remember it being epic and like adventurous and it was just awesome. And then it's just
like
that.
for me a lot was when I think of Spyro, I'm not I think I played ones earlier than you did, so I'm not sure what
Probably.
graphics you
I've
were
only
dealing
played
with.
A Hero's Tale.
Cuz I played the original Spyro.
Yeah, I've seen stuff from that one.
So I remember when I think about it, it's like flush animation. Like it's still, you know,
Is that the one where they have like all the dragon eggs get captured by someone and you have to go get them back?
I think so.
Yeah.
Ripto's Rage.
The one I played, there's like these dark crystal shard things
Oh, I
cropping
think I
up
played
all
that one
over the
too.
place.
Yeah.
And you've got to find the
But,
source
like,
of them and beat
I'm
them back.
imagining it like flush, like the animations are circular, you know, at least. And I'm like, oh, these. I look back, most of the animations are triangles.
They're like really jagged.
Yeah, really jagged, you know, old school
Mm-hmm.
pixelation, and I'm like, oh, I do not remember that. And I remember thinking back on the Final Fantasy games, even you know how they have amazing cutscenes.
Yeah.
Do you know about that?
Mm-hmm.
Like today, even you know, a few years ago, they had cutscenes that rival the most cinematic of movies.
Yeah.
There was one on PlayStation 1. It wasn't 7, but I remember the cutscenes thinking, wow, I've never seen animation this good. And then I played it.
And it looks like Doom 3.
I'm like, oh god, this is not good animation. I'm like, what was I thinking?
Yeah, I remember I fell in love with the bow action in A Hero's Tale from Spyro because there was this one like leopard character who had a bow and you could play as him and there was like this weird penguin guy you could
Yeah.
also play as. And I remember I was like, man, I wish they'd make more games with bows in them. And then now I'm playing Far Cry and I love the bow stuff and I'm like, where did that come from?
There's something about a bow in a video game to me. I agree with you
What
on
is it?
that.
It's just like awesome.
Like even when I played Oblivion for so long and I'd gotten so maxed out, like with all the bow isn't the best option, but it's so satisfying to use.
When you walk over to their body and there's this big old
Exactly.
thing sticking out of their head, and you're like, man, right between the eyes.
Yeah.
Like a sniper rifle's fine, but you don't get to see the lasting impact that you made.
Exactly.
The bow is just like, pink, and they're gone. And then like in Far Cry, if you shoot them in the stomach, they'll react accordingly. They'll be like, oh, and like fall over with this. It's just great.
Yeah. It made me want to take up archery in real life.
I wanted to take up archery when I was like 11.
I'm gonna do it though sometime.
I mean, I keep telling myself that. But
It's an active goal. I want to learn.
Well,
Like not master, but have a good
if
feel
you
for it.
find a good person, let me know, because I wouldn't mind doing that with you. I keep telling myself, yeah, I ought to do this in real life
It's
sometime.
one of those unspoken goals I just keep in my head, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I need to find some time.
That and skydiving. It's something I want to do.
Good old skydiving.
Well, we're 41 minutes
That's
in.
about it.
That's about it. We talked about video games and TV shows the whole time.
Well, also, goals.
And goals. The goals were a little bitty add-on.
Archery goals.
So we need a new Spyro. Watch Final Space. Bows and games are awesome. Is that it? That's it. Well, anything to say before we leave?
Bah.
Just bye. Thanks for watching the Basic Podcast. That's Matt.
That's Eli.
And we'll see you around. Make sure to give us a like and subscribe if you want to.
We out ya.
Yeah, I gotta go eat dinner. It's probably been ready for 3 hours.
And check that meme page.
Oh yeah, check our meme page, check our personal pages. You know how that stuff goes. We'll see y'all around. Why did I say y'all? We'll see you guys around. Goodbye. He turned his mic off. Just get out of here. Go. Enjoy your life.